Moshe Rabbeinu comes to Paro and he tells him, listen, Hashem is going to bring hail. Hashem is going to bring hail. It's going to destroy everything. Anything that's going to be outside. Anything that's going to be outside is going to be destroyed. So from here we learn the actual definition of Yirat Shamayim. It says, whoever among the servants of Paro feared the word of Hashem, chased his servants and his livestock to the houses. Meaning, whoever feared the word of Hashem, ran inside and put his animals inside. But whoever did not pay attention and take Hashem's word to heart, left his servants and livestock in the field. So here, we have literally the definition of Yirat Shamayim. Yirat Shamayim, unlike any other word in the Hebrew language, doesn't have an opposite like other words. For example, tall, short. Dark, light. Yes, no. You understand? But so you would ask somebody, what is the opposite of Yirat Shamayim? What's the opposite of fear of the Almighty? You would think, no fear of the Almighty. Wrong. This specific verse in chapter 9, verse 20, actually teaches us not only about the plague, but the nature of God, of what it means not to have Yirat Shamayim. It says, what's the people that had Yirat Shamayim, that believed Moshe, what he said, that Hashem is going to bring hail and so on. The people that feared Hashem put their stuff inside the houses. The ones who didn't pay attention and did not take the words of God to heart, left everything outside. Meaning, the opposite of Yirat Shamayim is not paying attention. Lo sam lev. Lo sam lev. Didn't put their heart to it. This actually originally learned from Rabbi Mizrachi years ago. And and here we have a lesson about Yirat Shamayim from Hashem. But then, after this plague and everything that happens, Moshe Rabbeinu comes to Paro and he says to him, I'm going to speak to God to have him stop. As soon as the Moshe says to Paro, when I leave the city, I shall spread out my hands to Hashem. The thunder will cease and the hail will be no longer. So that you know that the earth is Hashem's. So he says, Moshe says to Paro, okay, you're begging for Hashem to stop. Okay, as soon as I leave the city, Hashem is going to stop the thunder and the hail. And then he adds this. As for you and your servants, I know that you're still not afraid of God. I know that still, even now, after all these plagues, you're still not afraid of Hashem. You're still not afraid of Hashem. And this is chapter 9, verse 29. Verse 30. And then, after he stopped, Hashem stopped the hail, the last plague in this parasha. What does it say? Paro continued to sin. Paro continued to sin. He didn't release Am Yisrael. He continued going against Hashem. Nothing changed. So far, not too many Chidushim. So far, very similar to all the shiurim that we've done so far. Where it talks about the plagues, talks about Midat Adin, talks about measure for measure. As we've already done a couple of times, and I'm sure many other rabbis have done it hundreds and hundreds of times before. Now first you ask yourself, why is it that after all the plagues, after the first plague, the second plague, the third plague, why didn't Paro do tshuva? I mean, after the third plague, it says that Hashem himself hardened his heart, meaning he removed his free choice. But that didn't happen for the first three plagues. When all of a sudden you wake up one day and all the water in the ocean, all the water in the beaches, all the water in the lakes, all the water in the sinks, all the water in your cups, all the water everywhere turns to blood. I mean, something's strange. When all of a sudden you start seeing one giant frog appear, and every time you hit it, millions of frogs come out of it. Just thinking about it, I want to do tshuva. When Hashem says, I'm going to put the frogs inside you, not just in the food, in the ovens, and on the roofs, inside you, meaning that every single day these people couldn't sleep. Why? The frogs were quirking inside their bodies. You should do tshuva just thinking about it. How come he didn't do tshuva? There's lice everywhere. Shem Elachem, lice. Each lice, the Chachamim say, in Agadat Pesach and Midrash Me'am Loez and a few other places I saw it, each lice was literally the size of an egg, a chicken egg. Nice. Each lice was the size of a chicken egg. Thinking about one to tshuva, Chatanu Avinu Pashar, it's worse than a Gehenom Shiu. Each lice. And how much? 6 feet from the ground. Meaning you couldn't avoid them. You were swimming in them. The tshuva. Why did the tshuva? Why does it say at the end of the parasha, he continued to sin? Sometimes, you tell a person the truth. You tell him, listen, Hashem says you have to keep Shabbat. Listen, you have to keep kosher. Listen, you have to be modest. Listen, you have to do this. Listen, you have to do that. They tell you, okay, you listen. I need proofs. I need proofs that God said it. Maybe you said it. Maybe you just like people that wear mitpachat on their head. Maybe it's, you have some type of crazy thing in your mind. Maybe you have a scarf store on the side. Maybe you're the number one distributor of scarves in the world. You make $1 out of every scarf that's sold. Who knows? Maybe you own every single yeshiva in the world. You want my kids to send them, for me to send my kids to the yeshiva, so you make $500 a month out of them. Like, how do I know God said it? How do I know you don't have a bias? I want to see proofs. God said it. So you say, no problem. Let me show you proofs. We sit down, I show you proofs. Baruch Hashem, we've already done it many times. We have it online. I don't have to sit down with anybody anymore. You want proofs? I send you a link. You watch the video. Finished. Finished. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos. You're finished. You have all the proofs you could possibly want. Many we've done ourselves. Many other rabbis have done. The point is there's a complete picture. It doesn't matter whether it's scientific, medical, rational, whatever it is. Baruch Hashem, all types of proofs are available to show you God actually said it. Sometimes, Rabotai, you show a person all the proofs in the world. Like this one young man that I had when I went to California a couple of years ago. I had a lecture series over there. I had a lecture with a group of kids, maybe 25, 30 kids, young kids. 2 hours almost. 2 hours lecture. At the end of the 2-hour lecture, the rabbi comes to me with a young guy, maybe 20 years old. And he says, can you sit down with him a little bit? He has some questions. Now the kid has a kippah on. It's not so big, but he has a kippah on. And it's okay, sure, I have some questions, no problem. 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm sitting down with this kid, going over proofs. As if the first 2 hours shiur didn't exist. He's asking questions, I'm giving him answers. He's asking questions, I'm giving him answers. Mamash, like it's Siyat Nishmaya. You have questions, whatever you want, no problem. Some of the questions I didn't know, Hashem gave me the answer. But every answer, yeah. At the end of 2 hours and 45 minutes, okay, so you're ready to keep Shabbat, you're ready to do this, you're ready to do that? I don't know, it's like, it's interesting. What do you mean interesting? 2 hours and 40, that means almost 5 hours we sat. 5 hours we sat. Why not? All the questions you had, I gave you answers. All the issues you brought to me to contradict it are wrong. And I proved to you that they were wrong, and anything that's not wrong, that weren't able to prove as wrong, it's simply because it's a theory, it's a thought, it's an estimate, it's a guess. No one knows. It's like measuring the size of space. No one knows. So what you have is guesses. What I provide you is facts. I showed you. Yeah, but it could always just happen. So then I said, okay, debate is finished. Oh, we can't do a little more. No. I said, at this point, I know that there's no way for me to win. You're not looking for the truth. At this point, I understand you're just looking for an excuse to justify your existing life to continue. You're not looking for the truth. You were just hoping that I'm not going to have the answer, so therefore you go back to your Ima and Abba and say, Ima, Abba, I spoke to this guy, he doesn't know, he says he's a rabbi, he doesn't know anything, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go date my non-Jew, I'm going to go eat pig on Yom Kippur, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm not. But now you got the answer, you still don't want to do tshuva. That means you're not looking for the answers. You're looking for justification for your existing behavior. I'm not here to facilitate your craziness. But why, Rabotai? I provided you the proof. Why wouldn't you change? Why? Why didn't Paro do tshuva? Why do people sometimes, not often, sometimes their hearts are mamash such stone, you show them the proof, and they still don't do tshuva? Why? It's rare, but it happens. Why? Rav Saadia Gaon said something that when I told my father over Shabbat, he was visiting us, I told him what he said. We had to sit down, we learned a little bit. I told him this. My father, Mamash, almost started crying on Shabbat. He said how true this is. Rav Saadia Gaon said, you know, you're obligated to go visit the sick. You're obligated to go visit someone that's sick. It's a mitzvah from the Torah that Rabbi Akiva said to all of his Tanaim, all of his students, if you don't go visit someone that's sick, you know he's sick, you don't go visit him, it's like you murdered him. It's almost like you murdered him. Why? Because he may need some encouragement to come back to health. You didn't come, he died because of you. So it's not like a mitzvah, like it's nice to do. Oh, it's a nice gesture. Look, my kids are visiting the sick people. No. It's mamash an obligation to visit the sick. Now, he said sometimes you don't feel like it. Pashut. Your friend's sick, your partner's sick, someone's sick, close to you. You guys were friends 25 years. Your partner's in business. He invested into your business $1 million. Or this or that. Someone that's sick, someone that you know, not someone that you know from 35 years ago. Now, you know, it's get sick, you don't feel like going. Pashut, you don't feel like going. You want to go on vacation instead. You want to go Hawaii. You want to go see the ocean and trees. You don't want to go to the hospital. It's who knows how many diseases are in there. People are screaming, yelling, crying. Who wants to go to the hospital? Well, it's fun? No, it's not fun. I spent a lot of time in hospitals. It's never been fun. A lot of times in hospital, it's never been fun. Never. Not one time I can say, you know what? Baruch Hashem, what a fun time I had in the hospital. Never said it once. Months I spent in hospitals. I told you, not once I ever said, you know what? 5-star hospital. I can't wait to come back. Never. I never said I can't wait to come back to this hospital. So it's not fun to go to hospitals. So you say to a guy, listen, he's sick. You know, your friend for 25 years, your friend for 10 years, you're this guy, they did, da. He's sick, go visit him. No, I'm going on vacation. No, I'm busy at work. No, I'm busy at this. No, I'm not going. The guy is sick, and you're not going to visit him. But then, he's sick for a while. 6 months he's sick. A year he's sick. You haven't come visit him to the point where it's like, it's not that he's sick for a week, you don't go visit, okay, you don't go visit, I'll visit him when he comes out. No, he's sick for a while. And now everyone else notices, hey, his best friend didn't come visit him? Hey, his brother didn't come visit him? Hey, his cousin didn't come visit him? He's been here for, okay, if he's busy for the first week, you have to go on a honeymoon, you have to go to Jehannam, you have to go to this, you have to go to that, fine, a week, 2 weeks, fine. But a year already, you didn't visit him? So now, the guy that didn't visit, what does he do? Does he do tshuva? Does he go visit him? Rav Saadia Gaon says, the person's embarrassment is so high at that moment when he realizes that what he did was wrong, that he didn't go visit someone, that now, instead of doing tshuva, chatanu, avinu, pashanu, I'm sorry I didn't come visit you over the last year, I was busy, I was this, I was wrong, I forgot, I lost track of time. No, he doesn't say that. What does he do? He goes to Beit Knesset and he starts praying to God to kill him. Why to kill him? Because that way I don't have to face the embarrassment. I'd rather him die in the hospital, that way I don't have to face the embarrassment. I don't have to face the embarrassment. That is what it says. My father heard this on Shabbat. He said, he almost started crying. He says it's 100% true. It's mamash emet from Shamayim. It's 100% true of how people behave. when someone someone is evil and his nature is evil, he has no Torah, that's exactly his nature. And I can tell you from experience, I had it happen to me. I was very sick, and it was a specific, Hashem, some people came to visit, but there was one specific guy that I helped him more than anyone else. He had drug problems, I sent him to rehab twice. Twice I sent him to rehab. Each time $18,000, I paid. Got arrested, I bailed him out. He had in trouble, lived with me. I took care of this guy like he was my baby. Why? Because he lent me $1 every day many years before that. I tell you as part of my story. So he lent me $1 300 times. I gave him $300,000. Point is, I took care of him because I appreciated the little bit of favor that he did to me when I needed it. I got sick. Everyone knew. Even people that haven't seen me in 20 years knew I was dying. Everyone knew I was dying. It wasn't a secret. Everyone knew. You don't just go from something to nothing and the world doesn't hear the earthquake. Nowhere to be found. Disappeared. Okay, maybe he's on vacation for the first week. Or maybe it's uncomfortable for the first month. Or maybe it's unusual for the first 6 months. 3.5 years later, he gives me a phone call. Hey, how you doing? How's everything? Long time no speak. Now by then, I asked about him a bunch of times to people. I'm like, how? Dimitri didn't come yet? Like, what's going on? Is he okay? Is he alive? Did he overdose finally? Like, what happened? Like, no, he's actually doing great. He's doing this, he's doing that, da-da-da-da. So how come? Well, he didn't know I was sick? No, he actually asked about you once, and I told him you were sick, and da-da-da-da. He asked a couple times. He knows you're sick. He knows everything. So finally, after 3.5 years, I went to verify the story. Hey, how you doing? I said, I'm alive. How you doing? Da-da-da. I'm like, let me ask you, knew? Oh, yeah, I knew. I was a little bit uncomfortable. I didn't have a chance, and then I was uncomfortable. And, But how's everything now? How's everything now? I said, everything is fine, thank you. I gotta go. Wait, no, I want to talk. I'm like, listen, man. When everything wasn't fine for you, I was there 24 hours a day. Rabotai, the embarrassment level at that moment, you want to bury yourself. You rather the guy die. That's what the Chachamim say. Chachamim say that sometimes you have such selfishness inside you, you cannot deal with the embarrassment. What is this like? This is exactly like when someone tells you, I want to know the truth. You provide them the truth. You provide them all the proofs in the world. And they still don't want to do tshuva. Why don't they want to do tshuva? It's not because they disagree with you. They agree it's 100% true. God is real, the Torah is real, everything is real. But they cannot do tshuva. They cannot do tshuva for their sin. Why? They're embarrassed. They rather die, or you die, than them fulfilling and doing tshuva.
ובשופר גדול ייתקע, וקול דממה דקה יישמע, ומלאכים יחפזו, וחיורי